I absolutely love when we as a community find unique interactions between weapons, abilities, and exotics to create really goofy or really powerful builds. Well, let me tell you, the interaction I found is not only insanely powerful and easy to use, but I also haven't seen anyone talking about it, so this can be our little secret. With this build, you become basically unkillable. You deal more weapon damage and even support your team. We do that by consistently getting our super at a 500% increased rate and staying in our super for over 2 minutes. Remember to leave a like if you find this video helpful. If you like seeing build videos and other Destiny 2 helpful content, consider hitting that subscribe button. With that being said, let's jump right on into it. Crown of Tempest is one of the most slept on exotics in the game. In the past, I made an arc build with it that dominated, but with Prismatic, it's become so much stronger. See, the way it works is with any arc ability or jolt kill, you'll get a stack of Conduction Tines for 7 seconds. This will be refreshed with each kill and will stack up to 3 times. In the regular gameplay loop, this is already really strong, since at 3 stacks, you gain 500% increased ability regeneration for your grenade, melee, and super. This is already basically just as powerful as Heart of Inmost Light for Titans. However, there is one more secret interaction. See, they made this exotic with the intention that you get your Stormtrance super very quickly and you stay in it for longer. And while you still could use it that way, I instead took another route. This exotic states that while you have Conduction Tines, your supers passively drain at up to 66% slower rate. This means that you can take Song of Flame to gain benefits like 90% damage resistance, 25% weapon damage, scorching rounds for your solar and kinetic weapons, and you even give your teammates increased ability regeneration and 30% damage reduction. So if you can keep up Conduction Tines, theoretically, you can take a super that's normally 25 seconds long, and now it will last 136 seconds. And all you have to do is use your Volt Shot weapon. Keep in mind, if you use your abilities, they will cost a set amount of super energy. So you just want to pop your super for the weapon damage and survivability. So let's dive into the build and break down how it works. As for the super, we're taking Song of Flame. We've already mentioned all the benefits from Song of Flame, though you could still take Stormtrance if you want a pure ad clearing option. For the abilities, I'm taking Phoenix Dive. I like the mobility and instant healing from Phoenix Dive, but Healing Rift could definitely work if you want to run that instead. And for the melee, we take Arcane Needle for 2 reasons. 1, it has 3 charges, so we can use our melee more often. And 2, it's a darkness melee. We deal a ton of light-based damage, so this helps get back our Darkness Transcendent energy. And for a grenade, we take the Storm Grenade. This is the best option since we want as many ways as possible to get arc ability or jolt kills to keep up those stacks of Conduction Tines. As for the aspects, we bring Feed the Void. This aspect is incredibly powerful. With any ability kill, you get an enhanced version of Devour that fully heals you and will give you 15 to 40% grenade energy per kill. This leads to an immense amount of survivability and a ton of grenade energy so that you can spam those storm grenades. So we then pair that with Lightning Surge. Now you can slide and use your melee to hit enemies with multiple lightning bolts. This does some pretty decent damage, but it also jolts enemies. So if you don't get that kill, you can still use that jolted target to keep up your stacks of Conduction Tines. When it comes to the fragments, since we're using Lightning Surge, I like to bring Facet of Protection so that we'll take 15% less damage while surrounded. We then take Facet of Dominance so that our arc grenades will also jolt targets. This not only lets us deal more damage, but also helps in case you use one on a tough target like a champion to help deal that AoE damage. I also then like to take Facet of Sacrifice, so that while we have a light buff, we gain an extra 1% darkness energy per ability kill. Since this build is all about spamming those abilities and will always have Devour active, this really helps progress your darkness meter. Then I like to take a combo of 2 fragments that just synergize so well together. That is Facet of Awakening and Facet of Honor. With Awakening, we create elemental pickups by getting rapid kills. You know, those fire sprites, tangles, and for this build, we mainly create Ionic Traces, which happen to be the most powerful, giving us 12% ability energy for all of our abilities. This plus the 500% ability regen and grenade energy from kills leads to a buttload of ability energy. And since we now create so many ionic traces and tangles, we then take the other half, Facet of Honor. So that way, all of those ionic traces you create will give you 7.5% light transcendent energy. And when you pick up or destroy a tangle, you'll get 10% darkness transcendent energy. Remember, your regular melee is the arcane needle, which will unravel targets to create a tangle. So if you need darkness transcendent energy, create a tangle and destroy it to get that immediate bump. So the gameplay loop goes like this. Get a kill with a melee or grenade to proc devour, then continuously spam sliding melees and grenades to keep up stacks of conduction tines, and in turn generating a ton of ability energy and super energy. Once you have your super, throw a final grenade before popping it to make sure you have those 3 stacks of conduction tines. Then run around while invincible using your volt shot weapon to keep up those 3 stacks of conduction tines. Once it's finally done, you can pop your transcendence to help rapidly get back your super and amp up your survivability. In the meantime, if you see that you're full on light transcendent energy, swap to your strand weapon or use a regular melee to create a tangle and start building up that meter quicker. You can use your abilities in your super if you need to, but I highly recommend against it since they will start to chew through that super bar. And when it comes to improving the build, for stats, I like to aim for 100 resilience as my #1 option. After that, we have so much increased regeneration rate for all of our abilities that it's up to your personal preference. I like to run 100 discipline and about 70 strength, with any leftover stats split between intellect and recovery. But again, it's purely up to you. As for your armor mods, first up for our helmet, I like to take a Siphon mod, which in our case would be an Arc Siphon mod since we're using an arc weapon as our primary weapon. That way you can help create more orbs to get back to your super even quicker. I then pair that with Ashes to Assets, so the grenade kills will give you more super energy. Since we have that 500% increased grenade recharge rate and we're getting even more grenade energy from Devour and Ionic Traces, this helps you get back your super even quicker. And since we run Lightning Surge and Phoenix Dive, I then like to take Dynamo, so that using your class ability near enemies gives you 5% super energy. I find that I oftentimes need to use my Phoenix Dive after using that Lightning Surge, so you should be surrounded, which will give you that 5% super energy. When it comes to gauntlet mods, I like to take Firepower, so that kills with your grenade will create an orb, and that does have a 10-second cooldown. I also like to take Heavy-Handed, so that our powered melee will create an orb. And again, this one also has a 10-second cooldown. Orbs feed back into your super, which is the main point of this build, so we want to generate a ton of them. I then also pair that with Momentum Transfer, so that grenade damage now gives back some melee energy. Alternatively, you could take a loader mod to help with your weapons, like an Arc Loader, so you can help proc Jolt more often. When it comes to the chest mods, I'm taking 3 resistance mods. This mainly depends on the activity you're doing. I like to make at least one of these a melee resistance, so that we can stay safer while using our Lightning Surge, and the other 2 can match the threat or the main damage from the activity. As for the leg mods, I like to bring Recuperation to get a bump in health from picking up orbs, in case we don't have Devour active. I then take Orbs of Restoration to get 10% ability energy for our least charge ability. I also bring 1 Arc Weapon Surge to get 10% more damage for our arc weapons. I don't like to take more than 1, since we want our Volt Shot weapon to deal decent damage, but too much damage and the kill will count as a weapon kill and not a jolt kill. So we need those jolt kills to keep up our conduction tines. As for the mark, I'm taking Outreach, so that we get 12% melee energy whenever you use your class ability. We already gained back a ton of grenade energy, and since we have 3 melee charges, this has a higher likelihood of being useful than something like Bomber. And I pair that with Reaper, so that we create an orb on a weapon kill after using our class ability. And finally, I take Powerful Attraction, so that now we can collect any nearby orbs by using our class ability. And for the artifact, we bring Radiant Orbs for the extra weapon damage by picking up orbs. I then bring Galvanic Armor to consistently take 30% less damage. I also like to pair that with Shield Crush to deal more damage and increase our grenade recharge rate. And then I also like to take Transference to gain more grenade and melee damage, as well as energy back based on the number of weapon kills we get while Transcendent. Though you could drop Transference to take all the sniper mods in case you use a sniper on a boss. When it comes to weapons, you have a lot of flexibility for your first slot and your heavy slot, since we only really need a Volt Shot weapon in the second slot. Since we have so many ways to jolt targets, we don't need to worry about overload champions. So I like to bring the Call, which is a strand rocket assisted sidearm that can stun unstoppable champions and is a really good ad clearing option and helps you get more darkness transcendent energy. You could also take something like the Critical Anomaly, which is a stasis sniper that can roll with chill clip and bait and switch, or any other sniper of your choosing for DPS and mini bosses. As for the energy slot, we are of course taking an arc weapon with Volt Shot. The new Regen is a heavy burst pulse rifle that is one of the highest DPS options for ad clearing and can roll with Enlighten Action and Volt Shot. But honestly, as long as you bring a Volt Shot weapon, that's all you really need to worry about. As for the heavy weapon, again, you have a ton of flexibility. Since I like running the Call, I like to then take Pro Memoria so that I have a mix of ad clearing and DPS, though you could take a solar weapon so that you can take advantage of those scorching rounds while you're in your Song of Flame. With this build, you stay in your super for ungodly amounts of time, and you get it back at incredible rates, making it immensely hard to die. With the ability spam from normal gameplay to solely using your weapons in your super, this build shakes up the meta in the best possible ways. But I have one question for you. Have you thought to yourself, hey, I have a build that is way better than this build? Well, soon I'm starting a series where I'll be showing off viewer builds. Everything from the most busted meta builds to goofy interactions that give you that spark of joy. If you're interested, there will be a link to my Discord in the description, where you can submit a build of your own and have a chance to be featured in one of my videos. If you found this video helpful or just enjoyed seeing a new perspective, feel free to like the video and comment down below what you might change or how you'd improve the Prismatic Crown build. Keep an eye out for future videos as we continue to explore the ever-evolving world of Destiny 2. Until then, may the threads of fate be ever in your favor. This is Lucky Mech, signing off. See you on the next adventure, Guardians.